Hello, and welcome into a big college football Saturday. And welcome into my live stream. My name is John, Sports Bonanza John. My stream here on YouTube. I'm also on Twitch today at Sport Guru John. Also have some content on Kick at Sports Kick John, not on this one. But we are set for one of the most anticipated week one matchups in recent memory in college football. Number 1, Texas. Number 3, Ohio State. Again, my name is John, Sports Bonanza John. My YouTube stream if you like my content on here, would appreciate a like and subscribe from you. It would mean a lot. Before I do anything on this live stream, I always do start with a prayer. Let's start right now. Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for this beautiful day, beautiful Saturday. And please keep everybody safe. Lord, please look over all these players and let there be no significant injuries and keep everyone safe. In your name we pray, Lord. Amen. Texas and Ohio State, number 1 against number 3 in the preseason polls in college football. Texas, of course, led by quarterback Arch Manning, has that famous Manning name, as they will begin against the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. This is a rematch of a college football playoff semifinal game from a year ago. Of course, won by Ohio State en route to the national championship last year. This was the Cotton Bowl matchup to really revamp teams from those semifinal teams from last year. Ohio State, the defending national champion, starting off this year, preseason number 3, which I've never been a big fan of, these preseason rankings. I've always said if you win the national championship the year prior, I don't care who you lose, you should always start the following season number 1, but nonetheless, we'll see where this goes. Arch Manning, the Texas quarterback, the preseason favorite to win the Heisman Trophy this year, as he appeared in a few games last year. Of course, Quinn Ewers went down with the injury, and Arch Manning stepped in for a few games last season. Meanwhile, Julian Sayin getting the start at Ohio State in quarterback today. He was the number 1 quarterback in last year's recruiting class, so we will see what he brings to the table for the Buckeyes in this one. This is just the first of 3 top 10 matchups in college football this weekend in week 1. LSU and Clemson coming up later on, and then tomorrow down in Miami, Notre Dame and Miami, another top 10 matchup in college football. So a huge opening day in college football. I will have this stream here, and later on this evening, I will be on for another live stream, an FCS battle, an FCS top 15 battle, Sacramento State and South Dakota State. I will be on, that's, I believe, a 7 o'clock Eastern time kick for that one, so I'll be on right around 6:55 on that one. Of course, today marked the end of a legendary career on College Game Day for Lee Corso, making his final headgear pick. I don't think there was any question that he wasn't going to not pick the Buckeyes on his final headgear pick, and that is exactly where he went. On that one, Lee Corso going to be missed, as he was namesake, really, of College Game Day. The best wishes to him in his retirement. But we are just about set to go in a packed house of over 100,000 in Columbus. 70 degrees at kickoff, next to no wind, on a absolute gorgeous Saturday afternoon for this matchup between Texas and Ohio State. We will keep you updated as well on the college football scoreboard as the afternoon goes on. Ohio State's going to kick off here, so we're going to see Arch Manning and the Texas offense to begin this game, as we are just about ready for play from Columbus. And we are underway, and here's the opening kickoff. taking a yard deep in the end zone. It's going to get run out across the 10, 15-yard line, 20-yard line. A good return out near the 30-yard line. And that's where Texas will start their opening drive. Pretty good 30-yard return on that opening kickoff. So Arch Manning making his third career start for Texas. And they will start a first down and 10 from the 29. A loud and raucous crowd at the Horseshoe in Columbus. And we got a stoppage here. I'm going to see here what the exact delay is here. All right. Nonetheless, we're set to go. First down. I think they called that a touchback, actually. So the ball's moved back to the 25-yard line. First down, and here's the first carry of the game. Or actually, Manning's going to throw it, and short hops his receiver incomplete. And Manning incomplete on his first pass of the game. Second down and 10. Steve Sarkisian, the head coach of Texas, also the play caller for this Texas offense. Second down and 10, and not much doing here on second down as that's Wisner, the running back, getting the carry. It'll be third down coming up for Texas. Quintarion Wisner picks up 2 yards, so it'll be third down and 8 for the Longhorns. Or third down and 4, rather, for the Longhorns on a 6-yard pickup. Manning looking, throwing, pass caught, but that's going to be a yard short of the first down, I believe. And it will be an early decision for Texas. And they do go for it, and it will be Manning keeping, and it looks like he got to this marker. As they unpile the bodies here. And once they unpile, they do see it. It is a first down for Texas from the 35. The drive continues. This is another carry this time, and this is going to be another first down run here for Texas. That's going to be a 14-yard run on first down. That's not going to be Wisner this time. That's going to be C.J. Baxter getting the carry for Texas for 14 yards and a first down. First down up near midfield for the Longhorns. Manning out of the gun this time. Manning looks, throws, incomplete. There is a flag. First penalty of the afternoon. And we will get the call. It's 5 yards against Texas, so that will move the ball back to the 44-yard line. It'll be first down and 15. Two and a half minutes old in this one. Manning hands off again. That looks like Baxter again getting the carry for Texas. Gain of about 3 on first down. Second down and 13. Manning out of the gun. Now will give it off to his running back again and going to break into Ohio State territory to the Ohio State 48-yard line, setting up third down. So Baxter's gotten the last 3 carries for Texas. Third down and 8. From the 48 of Ohio State. High snap to Manning. Manning rolling right. Manning looking, throws, pass caught, but out of bounds. That was a reception to Baxter, but he's going to be a good couple yards short of a first down. Texas went for it on their prior fourth down. Let's see if they go for it again. They need a full 2 yards this time. Texas is going to go for it on 4th and 2, just inside the 43. Manning will hand off to Baxter, and Baxter's not going to get there. He's going to be a half yard short, and the Ohio State defense holds on 4th down, and Texas turns it over on downs on their opening drive of the game. See who that was defensively that got that stop for Ohio State. It looked like Arvell Reese, the linebacker, was in on that. But Texas with a turnover on downs as they picked up a couple first downs on that drive. But the drive stalls and Ohio State will take over in a scoreless game. And we are going to see Sayin and the Ohio State offense take the field. So we will see that Ohio State offense. We got another ranked team in action right now. That's the number 24 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. And right now they lead Syracuse 3-0 down in Atlanta. That game just underway. Tulane's jumped out to a 7-0 lead on Northwestern. Pittsburgh a 7-0 lead on Duquesne. Navy's jumped out to a 7-0 lead over VMI. Navy hope to have not the same fate as their military buddies Army had last night. Army, the first upset of the season, as FCS Tarleton State went into West Point last night and knocked off Army in double overtime, 30-27. That's not a slouch of a Tarleton State team either. That's a team that is ranked top 10 in FCS. Tarleton State from down there in Stephenville, Texas, and they went into West Point and knocked off Army in double overtime last night. So we are about to see Ohio State on offense here, as they have pretty good starting field position at their own 42-yard line. with 10:32 remaining in the first quarter. First career start for the quarterback for the Buckeyes, Julian Sayin. Sophomore out of Carlsbad, California. And the Buckeyes, 1st and 10 from their own 42. And this is a give on first down. It'll be a couple-yard pickup. To the Buckeyes running back on first down. It'll be 2nd and 8. C.J. Donaldson on that carry for Ohio State. 2nd and 10, or 2nd and 8 rather, from the 44. And here's another give, and that's going to break into Texas territory just across midfield. So that was Donaldson again getting the carry. And it'll be 3rd and about 1.5 yards. Clock running, 9:30 and counting here in the first quarter. Ohio State's opening drive of the game, 3rd down and about 1.5 yards. Sayin out of the gun. And we'll give it off to the run, and he's going to be stuffed. The Texas defense stuffs Ohio State on 3rd and 1, and it's going to be 4th down. So Ohio State just off the positive side of the field. They're keeping the offense out on 4th and 1. Sayin fakes the handoff. Sayin looking downfield. Pass is incomplete. And Ohio State with a turnover on downs. Intended receiver there for Ohio State was Max Clare, the tight end. So both teams with a turnover on downs on their first possessions. As we remain scoreless with 8.5 to go in the opening quarter. Mississippi State's grabbed the lead 7-3. Purdue's jumped out 14-0 over Ball State. Purdue trying to bounce back from a disastrous 2024 season. Tulane a 7-0 lead on Northwestern. Later on this afternoon, we will see the number 20 Indiana Hoosiers in action against Old Dominion. Indiana coming off the college football playoff appearance last year. Number 2 team in the country, Penn State, they open with Nevada. Georgia, the number 5 team in the country, they host Marshall later. Another anticipated matchup, number 8 Alabama traveling to Florida State to take on the Seminoles, a disastrous season for the Seminoles last year after an undefeated season in 2023. And, of course, tonight we have the LSU-Clemson matchup. That's down there in Death Valley. So a lot of ranked teams yet to see action today, which we will see later on. And we are about to see Texas's second possession of the game as Texas is going to have a short field to work with. They're starting just on their own side of midfield. Nothing game between Texas and Ohio State as we're at the 8.5-minute mark of the first quarter, 8:29 to be exact. And this is the one thing about college football. They have these long commercial breaks. Of course, we've got 2 more college football games coming up tomorrow and then 1 more Labor Day night. As we are set to resume action, Texas and Ohio State are scoreless here. Texas trying to take advantage of a short field on their second possession of the game. First down from the 49. Manning back to work. And gives it off here on first down. That's Quintravion Wisner on first down. Wisner, excuse me. Gain of 3. 2nd and 7. Another handoff here. That's going nowhere on 2nd down and 7. Ohio State defense stepping up right there on the give back to Wisner again, and it's 3rd down. They do give him a yard, so it's 3rd down and 6. Third and 6. And we've got movement prior to the snap. As it's now going to bring up 3rd down 11 as it was a false start against Texas. Buckeye fans making noise here on 3rd and 11. Manning looking, it's a screen pass, but that's not even going to be near first down yardage as the pass goes to Baxter. So Texas will have to punt as they foil a drive where they had a short field to work with, but they end up going 3 and out. A fair catch called for. And Ohio State will start their second drive of the game as we're just about at the midway point of the first quarter. So with Texas and Ohio State remaining scoreless here with 6:34 to play in the first quarter. Tennessee's now jumped out to a 10-0 lead on Syracuse. Tennessee, the only other ranked team in action at the moment. And the update on my live stream schedule, be back with you later on tonight for a top 15 FCS matchup, Sacramento State and South Dakota State. Those two teams kicking off the season. And we'll be back with you tomorrow night, Notre Dame and Miami. And then we'll wrap it up on Labor Day night on Monday and have another live stream for you, TCU and North Carolina, the debut of Bill Belichick as North Carolina head coach. And also plan to be with you Tuesday night. That will be a Major League Baseball live stream. The Yankees and the Astros do start a new job next week, so I'll have to wait and see the work schedule there, but should be able to bring you a live stream on Tuesday of baseball, as baseball's getting down to the final month of the season. That'll be Yankees and Astros, as I mentioned. So a lot of live streams coming up on my channel here as we get into the college football season, and also be with you on a live stream Thursday night for the NFL opener on the season, Cowboys and Eagles. With you for that as well. So about 4 or 5 live streams coming up this week on my channel. It's back to action here in a scoreless game with 6:34 to play in the opening quarter. Ohio State gets set for their second offensive series. It stalled on a turnover on downs the first series. From the 8-yard line, this is Peoples getting the carry, and he will get a yard, and that's it. It'll be 2nd and 9 from the 9. James Peoples getting that last carry for Ohio State. As we tick down to 6 minutes and counting remaining in this opening quarter. Second and 9. This is going to be a screen pass on 2nd down and out to the 15-yard line. Jeremiah Smith with the reception. And it will bring up a 3rd down and about 3. Third and 3 for the Buckeyes. Sayin once again in the shotgun. Sayin looking, Sayin throwing, complete for a 1st down. And the Buckeyes will move the chains. That's Max Clare, the tight end, with the reception for Ohio State and a 1st down. On 3rd and 3, the pickup was good for 11. Ball up to the 26-yard line, 1st down for the Buckeyes. Sayin once again to throw, passes dropped. It was a little bit behind Jeremiah Smith, and he couldn't quite come up with it, and it'll be 2nd and 10. Even though I was a little bit behind Smith, that's probably a catch you got to come up with. And Sayin is 2 for his first 4, throwing the ball. 2nd and 10 from the 26. Sayin gives it off, and this is going to be a loss on 2nd down. Texas defense right there That was James Peebles getting the carry for a 1-yard loss, and it'll be 3rd down and 11. Third and 11, you would think this would definitely be a passing situation. Sayin out of the gun. 3rd and 11, Buckeyes from their own 25. Sayin looking, pressured, gets rid of it, and another drop. That's 2 drop passes by the Buckeye receivers on this drive, and Ohio State will have to punt it. Jeremiah Smith, once again, the intended receiver. But Texas brought the pressure there to Sayin as he just got that away. So the Buckeyes will punt it away. Joe McGuire on to punt and gets it away. And it takes a nice Ohio State bounce inside the 30 and will be downed right around the 25-yard line. So a couple empty possessions for both teams on their first 2 drives of the game, and Texas will come out for the 3rd time, starting at their own 25, 3:35 to go in a scoreless first quarter in Columbus between number 1 Texas and number 3 Ohio State. "47 yards of offense for Texas compared to 26 for Ohio State so far, as the defenses has been very, very good. So this is a matchup between number 1 and number 3. Again, this is one of the most anticipated week 1s of a college football season that we have had in recent years. Usually the opening full week of college football doesn't have the most intriguing matchups for the most part, but that is definitely not the case this year with 3 top 10 matchups here in week 1. This one, as I mentioned, LSU and Clemson coming up later. And then tomorrow night, Notre Dame and Miami. I believe it was Stanford Steve on College Game Day that said that he believes all 6 of those teams, even though obviously 3 of them are going to start off with a loss. Even though 3 of them are going to start off with a loss, he believes all 6 of those teams are going to end up making the college football playoff. We'll have to wait and see down the road. So with 3:35 remaining in the first quarter in this one, Texas and Ohio State remain scoreless. As I mentioned, this is a rematch of last year's college football playoff semifinal Cotton Bowl game. Of course, won by Ohio State, as they ended up taking the national championship by beating Notre Dame in the national championship game. On an absolutely gorgeous Saturday afternoon for college football in Columbus. Just about set to go again. First down for the Longhorns as they will start this drive from the 25-yard line. Manning throws over everybody, incomplete on first down. Second down and 10 coming up from the 25. This is a handoff on second down, and it's going to be a minimal gain as C.J. Baxter gets the carry. Gain of a couple. Will be third down and 8. Third down and 8 from the 27. Manning looking. Manning is taken down right at the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 8, and the Longhorns are going to go 3 and out. So not a whole lot of offense here in this first quarter, and Texas is going to have to punt the football away. Ohio State should get pretty good field position. Good punt, however, and a fair catch made at the 19-yard line. So much for that good field position for Ohio State, as they're going to be backed up just inside the 20. With 1:58 to go in this scoreless first quarter, they're going to mark it right at the 20-yard line. So a great job so far by both defenses in this first quarter. Third offensive possession for Ohio State begins at the 20. Saying out of the gun, and will give it off on first down to his running back. That's the first. That's James Peoples actually getting the carry. Excuse me. Gain of 3 on first down. It'll bring up second down and 7. Second down, 7 for the Buckeyes from the 23. Final minute and a half, opening quarter. Saying looking to throw this time, has a man over the middle. That's going to be a first down. That is Peoples getting the reception. I'm sorry, that's Jeremiah Smith with the reception. 16 yards and a first down for the Buckeyes. Second reception of the first quarter for Jeremiah Smith. First down, Buckeyes from the 39. And this is another handoff on first down to C.J. Donaldson, and he gets across the 40 to the 44-yard line. Gain of 5 brings up second down and 5, and we will see if that's the last play of the first quarter. Ohio State will not have to snap it again if they don't want to. As we're down to the final 10 seconds and counting, Ohio State has moved up to the line. I don't know if this is just an attempt to get Texas to jump off sides and get a free 5 yards, and it looks like it is. They're not going to snap this ball. And Texas did not bite, and that's how the first quarter comes to an end in Columbus. Both defenses have done very well in this first quarter, and we are scoreless after one between number 1 Texas and number 3 Ohio State. Both teams able to muster just 50 yards in that first quarter. Both teams picking up a couple first downs. Manning 3 for 5 in that first quarter for just 13 yards. Sayin 3 for 6 for 33 yards in that first quarter. Time of possession pretty even. 8 minutes for Texas, 7 minutes for Ohio State. Ohio State not penalized in that first quarter as Texas was penalized twice for 10 yards. But not a lot to go on in that first quarter offensively for either one of these teams. As we switch ends of the field and get ready to start the second quarter. Couple updated scores. Number 24, Tennessee, still 10-0 over Syracuse. That's late first quarter. That game's being played in Atlanta. Mississippi State, a 10-3 lead over Southern Miss. That game's just started the second quarter. 7-7 game after one between Maryland and Florida Atlantic. Purdue, they had a disastrous year last year, but they've jumped out to a 21-0 lead over Ball State. That game just underway in the second quarter. Tulane continuing to lead Northwestern. That game's 10-3. And a couple of FBS FCS matchups. Pittsburgh 14-0 over Duquesne. And Navy's jumped out to a 14-0 lead over VMI. And they have just kicked off in Lexington between Kentucky and Toledo. There's a couple of guys on game day that thought Toledo might pull off the upset in that one. Toledo knocking off an SEC team last year as they went into Starkville and knocked off Mississippi State a year ago. And a lot of ranked teams coming up in action later. Indiana, Penn State, Georgia, Alabama, Florida State. That game's coming up at 3:30 Eastern. Get our first look at Oregon and Oklahoma later on as well. Oklahoma hosting Michigan next week. That's one of the more anticipated Week 2 matchups. Neither one of those teams you don't figure is going to have a problem today. Oklahoma's hosting Illinois State, and Michigan's playing host to New Mexico. So you figure both those teams to figure Oklahoma and Michigan to probably win both games with not much of a problem today. And a big matchup in Norman next week between those two teams. Getting ready to start the second quarter in Columbus in this one, Texas and Ohio State. Ohio State will have the football 2nd down and 5 from the 44-yard line. When play gets underway in the second quarter. After this 20-minute long break between quarters. Right before the game, of course, today, Ohio State unveiling their national championship on the big board at Ohio Stadium. National championship team from last year. And we're finally set to resume here in the second quarter. Get underway in the second quarter. 2nd down and 5 from the 44. And this is another handoff. Once again, this is going to be a first down for Ohio State. As James Peoples picks up 6 yards to midfield. And the Buckeyes move the chains once again. First down, Buckeyes right at midfield. .40 seconds old, second quarter. Sayin throws, has a man. That pass is caught. And a reception for Bennett Christian, his first catch of the game, as he picks up 6 yards inside the Texas 45. Saying now 4 for 7 throwing the ball in this first half. .39 yards passing. 2nd and 4 Buckeyes from the Texas 44. Sayin fakes the handoff. Sayin passing downfield, incomplete. Good coverage that time. Smith wants a flag, but none coming. That was good pressure and good defense from Texas. It'll be 3rd down and 4. That was Grayson Littleton that applied the pressure to Smith on that pass with the coverage on Smith. 3rd down and 4. Sayin throwing downfield and incomplete. Intended receiver was Brandon Innes, so now you've got 4th and 4 for Ohio State from the Texas 44. What does Ryan Day do here? Probably going to keep the offense out. The late flag comes in here. So we'll see what this flag is. It's against Texas, and they have just gifted Ohio State a 1st down. Oh, God, it was a face mask. Big penalty there against Texas as it gives Ohio State a 1st down. Colin Simmons, the guilty party for Texas. And he heads to the sideline. So a 15-yard face mask penalty moves the ball to the 29 of Texas for Ohio State. And this is a handoff on 1st down that's going nowhere, maybe a yard for C.J. Donaldson. They will give him a yard on 1st down. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9. First ample scoring chance for either team today as Ohio State's moved the ball inside the Texas 30. It's 2nd down and 9. Sayin looking downfield, throwing, incomplete. Flag comes in. It's going to be against Texas. We're going to have another interference call or what we're going to get here. Holding the call against Texas, and that will move the ball into the red zone. Malik Muhammad guilty of the hold. And that moves the ball to the 19-yard line of Texas. So Texas has given Ohio State about 25 yards on penalties in this drive. And the Buckeyes in the red zone, and we have a stoppage. Discussion here between a couple of the officiating crew. Not exactly sure what the call was there. whatever it was, we're back to 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. This is a handoff once again, and this is going to be a nice little gain for Ohio State. And still going, C.J. Donaldson drags the tacklers for a couple more yards and ends up with a 7-yard gain on 1st down, moving the ball down to the 11. C.J. Donaldson up to 22 yards rushing on 6 carries. And the ball is at the 11-yard line of Texas. Donaldson, the senior running back for Ohio State. 2nd and 11, or 2nd and 3 from the 11. This is Donaldson again. Donaldson 1st down inside the 10, and the Buckeyes are down to the 6-yard line. C.J. Donaldson with 5 more. First and goal, Ohio State at the 6. Trying to dent the scoreboard for the first time in this one. This will be the 10th play of the drive. And it's another carry, and once again, it goes to, this goes to Peoples this time. James Peoples, he picks up a couple inside the 5 to the 4. 2nd down and goal. Donaldson back in after getting that last play off. 11th play of the drive, 2nd and goal at the 4. This is Donaldson, and Donaldson is stood up. He's able to get a couple, but it'll be 3rd and goal. Mark it at the 2. Time-consuming drive for Ohio State, as we're down to 10 minutes in the 2nd quarter and counting. Third down, goal to go for Ohio State at the 2. And timeout called by Ryan Day in Ohio State. Their first of the half, as Ohio State looking to finish off this drive with 9:41 to go in the 2nd quarter. Scoreless for the moment, but the Buckeyes are driving down. They are at the 2-yard line of Texas. When play resumes out of the timeout. Tennessee has now jumped out 17-0 on Syracuse. 2nd quarter in that one. Southern Miss has come back to tie Mississippi State 10-10. Navy now 21-0 over VMI, so it does not appear that Navy is going to suffer the same fate as their armed forces buddies from Army did last night. Again, as I mentioned at the outset, the big upset last night in college football, FCS Tarleton State going into West Point and knocking off Army in double overtime last night. That's the 8th-ranked team in FCS football, so Tarleton State, no slouch. They were a playoff team in FCS a year ago. And looks like they very well may be not only a playoff team in FCS, but an FCS contender this year. But the big story in FCS football is I'm going to have an FCS live stream coming up later on tonight, a top 15 matchup, Sacramento State and South Dakota State. And the big talk in FCS football is can anybody dethrone North Dakota State? South Dakota State got a couple championships there, a couple 2-3 years back, but North Dakota State is still on top of the FCS universe. And can anybody dethrone them this year? I think it's more wide open than it has been. You got Tarleton State, South Dakota State supposed to be very good. North Dakota State in action today at the Citadel and leading that game 10-0 in the second quarter. Back to this one, though, Texas and Ohio State, 0-0, but the Buckeyes have a 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line of Texas. Is this 4-down territory if Ohio State does not convert on 3rd down? You would think so from where they are on the field. Figure they got 2 chances to get 2 yards. From the 2-yard line. 3rd and goal, Sayin back in the shotgun. He gives it off to Donaldson. He's not going to get there. The Texas defense stops again. Donaldson gets a yard, but is stopped at the 1. And there's no question Ohio State's leaving the offense out on 4th and goal. Fourth down, goal to go at the 1. Does Texas have one more defensive stop? The give to Donaldson, and he is in. Touchdown, Buckeyes. From a yard out, C.J. Donaldson finishes it off. And with 8:57 to go in the second quarter, Ohio State strikes first. It's 6-0. C.J. Donaldson got the bulk of the carries on that drive, and he got the chance to finish, and he did from a yard out. Extra point is up and good, and it is 7-0 Ohio State with 8:57 remaining in quarter number 2. Ohio State fans liking what they're seeing now. 7-0 for the home team. That was a 13-play, 80-yard drive for Ohio State that took 8 minutes. Finished off with the 1-yard touchdown run by C.J. Donaldson. So now Texas will go on offense trailing for the first time today. At 7-0. Syracuse has gotten in the end zone against Tennessee, so that game's now 17-7. Early stages, second quarter, in that one. Kentucky has struck against Toledo. Kentucky leading 7-0. 6:27 to go in the first quarter there. Maryland's retaken the lead against Florida Atlantic 10-7, and actually they just picked up a safety. So that's now 12-7 Maryland over Florida Atlantic. Still 10-3 Tulane over Northwestern. Tulane getting a lot of talk as they're going to be getting a lot of talk for being the group of 5 representative in the college football playoff this year. And they have just added a field goal as well against Northwestern, so Tulane now leads that game 13-3. A little over 5 minutes to go in the second quarter there. We've seen Tulane UNLV, another group of 5 team that's off to a 2-0 start as they got the win last night. So a lot of teams in the running and for that group of 5 representative team in the college football playoff this year. And one of these teams, Texas and Ohio State, is going to be starting off 0-1. Texas plays their home opener next week as they will be hosting the Spartans of San Jose State. San Jose State falling at home last night to Central Michigan. The Texas will have their home opener against San Jose State next week. So we are just about set to get the kickoff of this one following the Ohio State touchdown. And let's see if Texas can answer. Ohio State up to 81 total yards now. 50 for Texas. And here's the kickoff. And that will be out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. So Texas will start this next drive from the 25. So Arch Manning and Texas back to work on offense, now trailing for the first time, 7-0. Not a seat to be had, over 102,000 at the Horseshoe in Columbus. First down. And this is Manning getting the carry, and Manning takes it near first down yardage up to the 34-yard line. Arch Manning takes it and picks up 9 yards to the 34. Second and a yard for Texas from the 34. Manning will give it off to his running back. That's going to be a first down run for Quintravion Wisner. And Texas with the first down run. We tick down to 8 minutes to play and counting here in the second quarter. Manning down the field. Pass is incomplete. It's intended for DeAndre Moore Jr. and the pass a little low, and it'll be 2nd and 10. Second and 10 for the Longhorns from the 37. Screen pass on second down. That pass is caught across the 40 up to the 43-yard line. That's Ryan Wingo getting his first action of the game. And it'll be a 3rd down and 3 coming up for Texas. Third down. Longhorns need 3 to keep the drive alive. They're at their own 44. Manning receives the shotgun snap. Manning rolling to his left. Manning still looking. Now will have to take it himself and gets popped as he gets to the 46-yard line. Manning picks up, the official standing right at the first down marker. They're going to give it to him at the 47. First down. Boy, Manning took a shot at the end of that. Clean hit. And the quarterback is a runner at that point anyway. Texas, new set of downs. First down at the 47-yard line. Manning looking. Manning going deep down the field, but incomplete into double coverage. Wingo was down there as the intended receiver, but as were two Ohio State defensive players. And incomplete at 2nd and 10. Well, Arch Manning a little dangerous there, throwing into double coverage. Fell harmlessly, incomplete this time, but needs to be careful about throwing into double coverage like that. 2nd and 10. This is a handoff that's going nowhere on 2nd down as C.J. Baxter gets stuffed by the Ohio State defense, and it'll be 3rd down and 10. Third and 10 for Texas. 6 minutes and counting remaining. Second quarter. Manning out of the gun. Manning is going to be sacked. Arvell Reese on the sack for Ohio State. And that sets up a 4th and 11 and probably a punting situation for the Longhorns. Thought for a minute Manning was going to get out of that tackle, but Reese stayed with him and got the sack. And Texas does bring on the punting team. And the punt is going to be downed at the 2-yard line. An excellent punt from Jack Baumeister. And Ohio State will have to go 98 yards on this next drive with 5:05 remaining in the second quarter. Ohio State still with a 7-0 lead over Texas. If you're a regular viewer on my streams, you know this. But I always try to point out for any new viewers that tune in, YouTube TV, who is my TV provider, they do have this built-in delay. So I am a little bit delayed on what the actual live action is. Unfortunately, there's not really much I can do with that delay, as I've tried to take it off before and it starts buffering super, super bad. So unfortunately, there's not much I can do on the delay, but yes, there will be a little bit of a delay between the action I give you as opposed to the real live action. I just like to point that out if there are any new viewers that tune in and notice that. Tennessee has answered the Syracuse touchdown. Tennessee is back up 17 again, 24-7. Maryland's starting to pull away a little bit over Florida Atlantic. That game's now 19-7. But here we've got Texas and Ohio State. A 7-0 game. I mentioned Texas next week will be hosting San Jose State. Ohio State next week will be at home and host Grambling, FCS opponent next week for Ohio State. So those are the two matchups for these teams next week. As Ohio State, if they win this game, probably will go to number 1 next week, because if they beat Texas here, they're probably going to bypass Penn State, who's number 2, because Penn State has a game with Nevada today. That's not going to do much as far as raise your ranking. So Ohio State, if they can hang on for these last 35 minutes, is probably going to go to number 1 next week when the polls come out on, well, they might come out on Tuesday this week since there is that Monday night game. But back to action here, 7-0. Buckeyes lead the Longhorns. Again, a rematch of last year's Cotton Bowl college football playoff semifinal game. Obviously, these are two different teams because these two teams graduated a lot of players into the NFL last year. .505 to go here in the second. Ohio State back to work on offense. First down at the 2-yard line. They went 80 yards on their touchdown drive. And this is a handoff on first down. And getting out to the 5-yard line is James Peoples on first down. And bring up second down and 7. Second down and 7 for the Buckeyes from the 5. 4.5 and counting, remaining second quarter. And a handoff once again. It's Peoples again, and Peoples gets up to the 9-yard line, so that will bring up third down and 3 coming up for the Buckeyes. This is a big third down coming up. If Texas can get the third down stop here, they're should be able to get excellent field position because they would force Ohio State from a punt in their end zone. Texas, all 3 timeouts left. Ohio State with 2. Third and 3 from the 9. Sayin rolling right out of his end zone, throws, and the pass is caught by Carnell Tate. That's a 9-yard pass and a first down to the 18-yard line. That pass was along the sideline, and a great job by Tate getting a foot down. Look, I might have even gotten both feet down. The Buckeyes move the chains as they get up to the 18-yard line, first down. Handoff once again on first down for Peoples, and Peoples is stuffed this time right at the line of scrimmage. It'll be second and 10. It's Peoples' 8th carry of the first half. He's got 18 yards. Second down and 10 from the 18-yard line. Buckeyes will have to snap it before the 2-minute timeout. Sayin looking, Sayin throws, nobody there, incomplete. Max Clare was in the area, but there was nobody really near the pass, and it'll be third down. So another big third down coming up. Third and 10 from the 18. Sayin on 3rd and 10. Sayin down the field, pass caught, but well short of the first down. The catch was made by Jeremiah Smith, but he's a good 5 yards short of the first down, and Ohio State's going to have to punt the football as we have hit the 2-minute timeout. 2 minutes to go, first half. Ohio State leading 7-0. They're going to have to punt the football away to Texas following the 2-minute timeout. Navy now up 28-0 on VMI. Mississippi State and Southern Miss still 10-10. Southern Miss giving a battle to their state rivals so far in the first half. Again, want to update you on my live stream schedule. We'll be back with you later on this evening, I believe 7 o'clock Eastern time, the kickoff, for a top 15 FCS matchup, Sacramento State and South Dakota State. South Dakota State, an FCS playoff semifinalist a year ago. They opened the year preseason number 3 in the FCS poll, as they will take on Sacramento State, who opens the season preseason number 14 in the FCS poll. So we're going to have that matchup for you later on tonight, and then be back with you tomorrow night for the top 10 matchup between Notre Dame and Miami. And we'll wrap up the weekend live stream with a Monday evening game, the debut of Bill Belichick at North Carolina, as they will take on TCU. And then I will be with you on Tuesday for a Major League Baseball stream, the Yankees and the Astros, as Major League Baseball's hitting its home stretch of the regular season. And then have plans to be with you Thursday night for the NFL kickoff between the Cowboys and the Eagles. So a bunch of live streams coming up on my channel here in the next week. Also probably be with you Friday night for a live stream as well. The game between the Chiefs and the Chargers. That game's going to be out in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That will be on Friday night. So a busy live stream schedule this week on my channel. Football, NFL, college, and Major League Baseball. As we get set to resume here out of the 2-minute timeout, Ohio State's going to have to punt this football to Texas. I do want to point out I will be pausing the live stream at halftime, and we'll be back with you just prior to the second half and for the second half action. But there will be a pause at halftime on the live stream. So Texas is going to get this football back with all 3 timeouts, and they should have pretty good field position out of this. And here's the punt. And the ball goes out of bounds. Not the greatest punt in the world. Let's see where they spot this ball at. They're going to put it down. Going to mark this at the 47-yard line. So Texas will only have 53 yards to go for the game-tying touchdown. First down, Longhorns from the 47 as they take the field with 150 to go in the first, 154 to go in the first half of play. All 3 timeouts. Manning looks, fires, incomplete on first down. Parker Livingston, the intended receiver for Texas on that one. It'll be 2nd and 10. 2nd and 10 from the 47. And here's a handoff on 2nd down. This will go to C.J. Baxter, and he will pick up a couple to the 49-yard line, clock running with 100 seconds and counting. Third down and 8. Ball at the 49-yard line for Texas. Manning out of the gun. Manning gets the snap. Manning going to his right, looking, throws a little shovel pass, and that's going to be short of the first down. C.J. Baxter with the reception, but it's going to be 4th and about 3. Texas will be at the Ohio State 46. Texas looks like they're leaving the offense out on the field on 4th and 3. 1 for 2 on 4th down so far in the game, and now we have a stoppage. Timeout called by Ohio State on defense. So that leaves them with 1. With 43 seconds remaining in quarter number 2. Texas going for it on 4th and 3. Tulane has upped their lead on Northwestern. That is 20-3 now as they are approaching halftime. Mississippi State's retaking the lead on Southern Miss. That's 16-10. Here we go. 4th down and 3 from the 47. From the 46, rather. Manning, and now Texas is going to take a timeout as they want to make sure they're on the same page. So Texas uses their first timeout of the half. So we will wait again for the 4th and 3 play. As your Mississippi State retook the lead over Southern Miss. That's 13-10, rather. I think I said 16-10. Tennessee still 24-7 on Syracuse. Next games to kick off at the top of the hour. So here we go. Now 4th and 3, and now Texas is just going to punt this down the field. And it takes another big Longhorn bounce, and that's going to go out of bounds at about the 3-yard line. So Baumeister with his second great punt for the second time pins Ohio State inside the 5-yard line as this goes out of bounds at the 3. So now with a 7-point lead and 1 timeout and 35 seconds left, I don't know that Ohio State's going to do anything drastic down the field here. It might just be a running play or something, probably run out the first half. But if you're Ryan Day, you've got to be pleased, especially with your defensive effort in the first half, as Ohio State has held Texas to 79 yards of offense in this first half. Texas defense hasn't been bad either. They've held Ohio State to 102, but 80 yards on that touchdown drive earlier in the second quarter was 80 of the 102 yards. First down, Buckeyes at the 3. And Sayan's just going to get what he can as he's going to keep it. As he gets a yard to the 4, and that may take us to halftime, and it will. 30 minutes in the books in Columbus. The third-ranked Buckeyes and defending national champions leading the number 1 Texas Longhorns 7-0 with 30 minutes to play in Columbus. Again, going to pause this live stream here for halftime, and we'll be back with you just prior to the second half in Columbus. So 7-0 Ohio State leading Texas. Going to pause here briefly and be back with you right before the second half. See you in just a few minutes.